The rise of ChatGPT-4 is about to peak, and I'm pretty sure this is the curve when AI will be at its best. There are 5 major changes you need to know about, and they will blow your mind, so stay with me. Number 1. GPT-4 is equipped for seeing and fathoming pictures. This adaptable AI framework's most striking difference is that it is multimodal, which means that it can interpret many methodologies of information. This is the most obvious difference. ChatGPT and GPT-3 were text-only devices that could read and write, although this went beyond the capabilities of some applications. GPT-4, then again, can be taken care of photographs and will handle them to distinguish valuable data. Obviously, you could essentially request that it portray what's in a picture. However, its understanding stretches out past that. The OpenAI model shows it making sense of the parody in a picture of a ludicrously huge iPhone connector. However, the cooperation with Be My Eyes, a visually impaired and low-vision application that permits volunteers to depict what their telephone sees, is seriously enlightening. Number 2. GPT-4 is more challenging to trick. Even with all of the improvements that have been made to chatbots in recent years, they still have a tendency to get things wrong. A little bit of persuasion can convince them that they are basically depicting what a terrible man-made intelligence would do, or some other tiny fiction that allows the model to say a wide range of bizarre and reasonably disruptive things. This can be accomplished with only a little bit of influence. People even coordinate their efforts to come up with escape instructions that will speed up the process of ChatGPT and others getting out of jail pens. GPT-4, then again, has been prepared on countless false prompts, which clients compassionately shipped off OpenAI over the earlier year, or something like that. In light of these contemplations, the new model beats its ancestors as far as factuality, steerability, and declining to go beyond guardrails. Number 3. GPT-4 has more memory. These large language models are prepared on a huge number of site pages, books, and other text information, yet there is a cutoff to the amount they can hold as a primary concern while talking with a client one identifies. With GPT 3.5 and the past form of ChatGPT, the cutoff was 4,096 tokens, which is around 8,000 words, or 4 to 5 pages of a book. Thus, when they passed that far back in their consideration capability, they would forget about things. The greatest symbolic include in GPT-4 is 32,768. That is 215, assuming you're asking why the figure feels natural. This relates to roughly 64,000 words, or 50 pages of text, which is a lot for a total play or brief tale. This implies that it will actually want to keep up with up to 50 pages as a primary concern while speaking or making content, so it will recollect what you examined 20 pages prior in the conversation, or it might allude to occasions that happened 35 pages back, informing a novel or paper. That is quite an unpleasant depiction of how the consideration component and token count capability, yet the central idea is expanded memory and the powers that accompany it. Number 4. GPT-4 is multilingual. People who speak English as their primary language dominate the field of artificial intelligence, and the language is used for everything from information to testing to papers exploring new territory. However, the capabilities of large language models are applicable to any written language, and these capabilities ought to be made available in written languages as well. GPT-4 guides a stage in this direction by demonstrating its capacity to provide accurate responses to a large number of multiple-choice questions presented in 26 different languages, ranging from Italian to Ukrainian to Korean. It is successful in sentiment and Germanic dialects, but it also translates well to other people and works well in general. Number 5. GPT-4 has different characters. The ability of computers to change their behavior in response to instructions is referred to as steerability, which is an intriguing concept in computerized reasoning. This can be helpful, for instance, when acting as a thoughtful audience, but it can also be dangerous, for instance, when people try to convince the model that what they are doing is terrible or should be avoided. GPT-4 coordinates steerability on a more local level than GPT 3.5 did, and clients will actually want to modify the exemplary ChatGPT character with a proper verbosity, tone, and style in order for it to more easily conform to their requirements. Allowable, the group emphasizes, bringing up the fact that this is the strategy that requires the least amount of effort to make the model act out of character.